From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's the Executive Spotlight.
Welcome to the AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today our guest is Michael Renaud from Allen Ram's Proactive Training. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We're really happy to have you here today, and we're going to talk about the topic everybody likes to talk about, the phone.
Yeah.
How are dealerships doing on the phone these days?
You know, I would say dealerships are struggling over the phone right now. And why I say dealerships are struggling over the phone is I read this amazing statistic recently. 74% of people calling a sales department to a dealership want to make an appointment.
Really?
Yes. And so think about where we are as an industry as like a national average, like, you know, NCM number or NADA number. I mean, it always puts it somewhere in the 30s, you know, from that phone to appointment.
Wow. So,
right?
So we're finding a way to take 2/3 of the people that want to make an appointment and give them a reason not to make an appointment?
Right. How many times do you call somewhere to make an appointment and not make an appointment? Never. It doesn't happen unless, like, you know, unless I'm calling the dentist and I broke my tooth and I need to go there tomorrow and he's on vacation. Fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't happen. People call to make appointments because they want, and if we look at that gap in that statistic, we're stumbling. And where we're stumbling is right off the rip, there's a confidence factor that's being missed, right? A lot of our staff, we call them COVID babies, right? A lot of every dealership I go to will tell me half of their sales floor, half of their BDC, at a minimum, they call them COVID babies. They were all there from the time of COVID till now. And what happened during the time of COVID? What happened during the time of COVID is we had very limited inventory, and every customer called us up and they asked us, you know, do you have such and such stock number in stock? Do you have stock number 1, 2, 3, 4 in stock? Or they would call and they would say, I'm looking for a Corolla, and they would go, well, do you have a stock number in mind? We have very limited inventory. What's a stock number? Oh, you know that little number there? So we ended up teaching the consumer during COVID what a stock number is and how to ask us about very specific cars because they had very specific inventory. Now that we're sitting here today, 2025, and we say the average customer is 3 to 5 years of car vehicle ownership before purchasing a new one, well, the last time they bought a car puts them at the heat of COVID. Every single call to a car dealership I listen today, the customer is asking for a stock number. If I ask salespeople who sold cars before COVID, did customers ever call, or BDC reps, did customers ever call asking for a stock number, their answer is no.
Absolutely, yeah.
No one called, but we taught as an industry, we're very good at teaching the consumer, right? Everyone knows to buy a car the last week of the month or the last day of the month, right? We've done those things as an industry.
Yeah.
So now as an industry, we've taught this customer to ask us about specific stock numbers, and we're going down that rabbit hole with a customer on a stock number, and that's not really what the customer wants. What the customer wants is someone to help them solve their problem, and we're not doing that. We're just, yes, that car's in stock. When can you be here? Today, tomorrow? Great. Morning, afternoon, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Great. See you then, 4 o'clock. That customer usually doesn't show up because the customer's calling us. We're missing the intent of the call. And the intent of the call is, I have a problem. My problem is I need a new car. Last time I bought a car, it was a really bad experience. Paid a lot more for it than I expected, and I really don't want to have a bad experience again. So I want to make an appointment. I want a dedicated time that you're going to pay attention to me and focus on me and my needs. But there's some things I want to get done before I arrive, right? So those are a couple of things. I know you won't talk to me about financing, and I know I can't test drive the car over the phone. Okay, I get it. I understand that. But I want to ask you some questions because I want to see if you're honest and trustworthy. And so I might ask you about price, and if you run away scared on that question, well, probably not going to come see you, right? And if I'm a customer who just keeps asking you questions running on my agenda, well, where are we going, Brian, right? The customer doesn't know. We do something once every 3 to 5 years. You good at anything you do once every 3 to 5 years?
No.
Would you be good at fishing if you did it once every 3 to 5 years?
I'm still not that good at fishing. And I do it 3 or 4 times a week.
Exactly. So there you go, okay?
Yeah.
The customer doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But we're putting them on this pedestal because they've spent all this time doing research. They must know a lot about the car. The reality is our salespeople and our BDC reps need to not know so much about the specifics of a car, but how to help the customer with their needs before they arrive by asking them the right questions. Because if we think about today, right, are we busier than we were 20 years ago? No. But Ferris Bueller was right. Life is moving fast. It's moving really fast, right? You were driving here today. How many things did you do on your phone at the stoplight? Well, don't say it. You'll probably get arrested in Ohio. But you know what I mean, and you get it, right? So we're moving faster. I don't have time to think of the questions to ask you. I need a professional who's going to help me, and that's why I'm calling and I'm looking for it. And when I find that professional, I'm going to make an appointment with them, and I'm going to come spend time with them.
Walk me through that a little bit. You know, I just called you.
Yep.
I'm interested in stock number 1234, and I have a trade. I'd like to come in at 4 o'clock tomorrow. What are the questions that would help, you know, that a salesperson should be asking?
Right. Well, first off, we should ask them what kind of car stock number 1234 is, right? Why should I just sit there? You want to listen to me type looking for this car? No. But you also know that I don't know that stock number 1234 is a 2025 Toyota Corolla LE.
Yeah.
Okay? I know you as a salesperson don't know that. Okay? But so when you ask me what kind of car is that, great. And you'll tell me what kind of car it is. It's Toyota Corolla 2025. Oh, fantastic. You picked a great time to call us on Corollas like that, right? That's where we want to go. And then we're going to ask them, what do you like about that Corolla? Tell me about it, right?
I like the reliability of the gas mileage.
Boom. Oh, fantastic. Well, with the Corolla, that is the right place to go. Hey, can I ask you something? What features are important to you in the Corolla? Front-wheel drive? Do you need an all-wheel drive car? Do you need it with gas, hybrid? Right? We start asking the customer what is important to them about the vehicle. Then we roll in, what else are you looking at? Don't be afraid. Oh, hey, I might be looking at, I don't know, Hyundai. I might be looking at Honda. Who knows, right? I'm looking at my other brands. Okay, fantastic. That's great. We have a great selection of pre-owned cars like that as well, right? And then ask you, hey, the car you're driving now, is that something you'd consider trading in? Sure, yeah. You'd consider it, right? If I ask you straight up, is that a car you trade in? Your response to me is like, well, how much are you going to give me for it? I don't want to talk to you about how much I'm going to give it to you for it over the phone, because this is a machine. I need to see it. I can't just throw out a number to you while we're talking. Yeah, I can go on Kelley Blue Book and give you a ballpark, but again, we need to turn it on. We need to take it for a drive, just like if you were selling your house, I'd want to come look at your house and turn on the oil burner and all those good things, right? You know what I mean? Make sure the air conditioning's working, all that stuff. Those are the same things we need to do with the car, but your car is different. It's emotional to you, right? I want to talk to you about it. You know how many dealerships I call every time I visit a dealership, every time I do training, we always call competitors of that store. You know how many times I've had to bring up the trade with the salesperson or BDC rep versus they bring it up? It's like 95-5.
Really?
I've even had BDC and sales reps tell me, you know, you're better off going to CarMax and trading that car in, because we've never beaten those guys. So just go over there, sell your car, and then come on over to me.
Really?
No joke. Why is that happening is the thing that we got to look at. Why are they saying that? Why do they have no confidence in their desk, their managers, their pre-owned manager to put the right numbers on that car or help them through that sale? That's a problem that's breaking down. That salesperson is giving deals away to CarMax because he doesn't have faith, or no one's giving him a process to follow. And no one's holding him accountable.
Wow.
Right? Who's listening to that call? I mean, the amount of times that I sit with owners and GMs and play mystery shops calls, and I get it, like we don't want to hear those calls, all that stuff. But what shocks me about it is when they're shocked about what their people are saying. Because the average dealer's spending, I don't know, you know the stats better than I do, $50,000, $100,000 a month in marketing and advertising, right? Owners, GMs sit in those meetings, like deep into those meetings. They spend all the time in the minutia, but then they listen to a call and they're shocked like it's the first time they've heard it in months.
Wow, I mean, all the money spent to make the phone ring, if that guy's answering it, is wasted.
Right, but who's holding that guy accountable? Who's listening to his calls and helping him coach to get better? That's the challenge we're facing. When I was a desk manager, 15 years ago, I didn't have the piles of paperwork and, how long it takes to fill out an RDR today and all that stuff that desk managers are doing. That's eating into their time that when, I was at the desk, I was able to spend that time with my staff and spend that time with my team. That's gotten eaten up in different ways now that we have to find to give a little elbow room to the managers to spend time with them.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the managers.
Yeah.
I guess, one, what should they be doing when they get out from behind the desk, and what can we do to help them to get out from behind the desk?
Well, Alan Ram always talked about there were 3 types of managers in this business, okay? The first type of manager was the seagull manager. You live by the beach. What do seagulls do?
Fly all around.
They fly all around, and what do they do on everyone's head?
Well, they poop on their heads.
Exactly. And there are managers that sit in their offices all day, then fly out, poop on everyone's head, fly back into their office. And what happens when that happens? You've had bosses like that. I've had bosses like that. Everyone's in chaos for hours dealing with all the chaos created by the poop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, that manager has to disappear. The other manager we have today, and this manager is more prevalent than ever, is what Alan called the oak manager. And the oak manager is that manager that sits at their desk so long they grow roots. That manager that's literally sitting on the sidelines, just, quarterbacking the team from the sideline, from his seat, and not getting in the field and playing. And that's the manager we need to see today, is a walking and talking manager. A manager that's up and about and walking. There's no need to have more than one manager sitting at a desk at one time. So the other managers need to be up, walking around, listening to their teams, coaching with their teams, sitting with them, helping them improve, helping them bring those extra deals. Because here's the reality. My kids, I take them bowling. Okay, and what do I do to them? My kids are 8 and 11. Mm-hmm. To help them bowl, I put those bumpers into the lane like any father does, okay, to make sure that they don't roll gutter balls. The managers need to be doing that for their staff today. They need to be the bumpers in the lane because no one gets paid on a gutter ball. So when their staff is in danger of rolling a gutter ball, when I'm walking through the floor and I'm hearing a salesperson just answer question after question from a customer, the manager needs to get in and TO, not unlike they would do it on the sales floor. On the sales floor, if I watched a salesman or if another manager watches a salesperson follow a customer around the showroom, you got to get up and help that salesperson take control again. That customer doesn't want to be in control. Again, we talked about it. They're too busy. Life's moving too fast. They don't want to come up with questions. They don't want to be in control. They want a professional that's going to help them, and that's exactly what we need to be breeding and growing inside dealerships, and that's the manager's responsibility.
That makes sense. I know when I first started selling cars, that's the way that you learn. I mean, you're at a point where you don't know what to do next, and the manager saves the day.
Right.
And then the next time he saves the day, the third time you're brave enough, you try it. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but he's there to save the day. And eventually, you don't need him for that step. But then there's another problem, and they save the day.
They come in and help, and that's what they're there for, right? Listen, this program, I teach how do we get more activity from outside of the showroom in, right? But the best example of that, right, is desking deals. How many times do we see managers in stores desking deals, handing salespeople quotes, right? Go in and close them, go in and close them, go in and close them, knowing that customer or that salesperson can't close them, or that customer, the last 5 car deals they had, they didn't close until the manager got up, so all they're doing is kicking back quotes until that manager comes sit with them, right? When we have that, we're just trying to get you to close them, knowing you're not going to or not be able to. Why aren't I playing chess with the customer? Why aren't I setting you up to go in there to help me close? If I know 80% of the time I'm going to end up going in and close anyway as the manager, why don't I set you up with the right words to help me finish the close, to stop this back and forth? Because the customer doesn't like this back and forth, the manager doesn't like this back and forth, and the reality is you're losing $500 to $750 every time we go back and forth and grow. So why are we giving away all that growth? Because what? I want the salesperson to learn something? The salesperson isn't going to learn anything in that moment. That's not a teaching moment. That's a coaching moment. That's a manager when the coach needs to get involved and move. That's not a classroom teaching moment. And too many managers treat it like a classroom teaching moment. Oh, I loaded their lips. Well, you loaded their lips for that specific scenario with that specific customer with their specific problem. Not, you didn't help coach that situation for success. That is training that we do to drive that success.
I'd like to shift gears a little bit from the manager. Let's talk about lead to show.
Okay.
How effective is that as something to measure, and like what can dealers take away from that number?
Well, I think lead to show is important, and it's an important tool and important number, but it becomes valuable when you break that number down a little further. And what I mean by breaking that number down a little further is a lot of times we get the manufacturer, they always and I always have dealers tell me I have an 8%, 11%, 5%, on the internet, lead to sold, right? That's the overarching, right? Then us as a company, we focus on your lead to show. That's what we help you improve. But how do I find where you're struggling? I need to break down further, and I need to see that lead to appointment number. Because what I'm seeing in dealerships today, and it doesn't matter where I go, it doesn't matter if I'm in a mom and pop in northern Michigan or I'm in a giant Toyota store in Houston, Texas, okay? The reality is stores are 60, 70, I even have some clients, 80% of the time their appointments are showing. Okay? Wow. Big numbers right now. Customers, when they're making appointments today, they're showing up. Okay? And if they show up in the showroom, they're selling 50, 60% of the time. If we have a large subprime, we're down, below that 50%. But aside from being in a large subprime area, that customer is buying. And when we roll in that be back, a second or third visit, that number is becoming like 80%. Okay, so that number is growing. The problem is, we built this great engine. Let me just go back a step. We built this great engine. This is this fantastic engine that when a customer shows up, we get them to sell. Okay, and now we've added the appointment. Now we've gotten the appointment because dealerships have gotten better about confirming appointments. They're using tools like Covideo and things like that to help get that customer to show up better, right? Confirming the appointment side. But where they're struggling, the number that I see where the clog and the fuel line is, so to speak, is when we break it down further, that lead to show further and show that lead to appointment. That lead to appointment is sitting on the internet side. I see some dealers in the teens. On the phone side, I'm seeing dealers in the low 30s, high 20s, right? And getting them up where I know they can be, right? I have some clients pushing 50% on the phones, if not higher, okay? Yeah. But now I know my problem exists in my store in my lead to appointment. So if my lead to appointment is a problem, then it has to go back to what are they saying to the customer over the phone? Right? Yeah. What are we saying to them over the phone? What are we saying to them on text? And what are we saying to them on email? You want to hear the number one voicemail I hear from dealers right now? Hey, Brian, yeah, it's Mike. I know you're calling me on stock number 427, that Corolla. Yeah, if you're still in the market, give me a call back. Click. You ever call anywhere just to call them back to tell them you're still in the market? No one's calling back to say I'm still in the market. But if he called me and left me a voicemail telling me how great the programs are this month for Toyota, or if we're in November talking about Toyotathon and all that other stuff to hype me up before the end of the year, okay? That's the stuff that a customer is looking for. Give me a reason to call you back. Don't just ask me if I'm still in the market, or here's another one I get. I love this one. Oh, hey, Brian, yeah, just want to see if you want to come down to the store. Well, guess what? Your answer is, dude, if I wanted to come down to the store, I'd get in my car and drive there. Yeah, I'd be there. I'd be there already. No, I'm calling you, I'm emailing you, I'm texting you for a reason. And I want to say this, if you guys are getting leads that have no phone number, just an email, that's not a bad lead. That is just an introverted person who isn't ready to talk to you yet. They're opening the door. They gave you a real email. They want to see what you have to say. But if you just ignore the questions in my email, if I asked you about the heated seats and the sunroof and you just say, hey, thanks so much for reaching out to us, blah, 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 and when would you like to come down to the store? I'm not answering that email because you didn't answer my question. Yeah. How many dealerships, we talk about digital retailing. We all love digital retailing. Everyone's building digital retailing platforms. Well, what does digital retailing really mean? It means that the website has given the customer a price. So when that customer submits a lead and we don't acknowledge that price that they've received because we see it in this lead inside the CRM, and we don't say, hey, Brian, I'm so glad you got a great price on the Corolla. It's really fantastic pricing we have right now, but can you give me a call back? I want to make sure you took advantage of every program and rebate that Toyota has to offer. And then when you call me back, I ask you if you've served in the military or if you have loyalty or whatever the rebates and programs are available, but it gives me a reason to give you to call me back. Well, I mean, if I could save an extra $500 or $1,000, I want to know it, right? Exactly. And I want to talk to you about price. Price, payment, rate, inventory, and trade. Those are the 5 things that are on a customer's mind. Sometimes all of those things, sometimes it's one of those things, okay? But those are the things that are on people's minds. Rate, price, payment, trade, and inventory. And the rate thing is wild because you have, you know, if you think about it, we're in a place where the 850 customer is as concerned as his interest rate as the, you know, the 600 customer is right now.
Yeah.
You know, so so that's why that, you know, normally rate isn't popping that high, but it is now because you have 2 groups of the consumer that are very concerned about a high interest rate.
You know, I think this has led us to the doorstep of my next topic.
Yeah.
Next topic, I mean, because we're kind of talking about, you know, making the phone ring but not bringing the customer in. How can you improve your marketing ROI?
Okay, so here's the thing. We talked about before. We're spending 5, 6 figures, sometimes even more every single month at a store to get that phone ring, to get that internet lead to come in, right? And to get that text and social media to go. The things that we need to do to improve the ROI there is, first of all, we need to look at our websites, okay? We got to cut down. We understand that internet leads close at a lower rate than the phone up. So if we look at our website and we see that our website is 80% form fill and 20% phone, well, now we're just taking good money and spending it on the lower converting of the 2 potential leads that we can generate there. We need to get more click to call, get that customer to call our store more, first of all, because it just converts at a higher rate. And we get a little bit of a lower funnel customer. And as we're getting into the end of the year right now, that's the tweak that we need to make, okay? We don't, you know, I have some clients I've gone to where I've sat in their BDC and I'm working with the staff, and about halfway into the day, I'm looking at the staff, I go, why is it so quiet in here? Where's the phone? Why isn't the phone ringing? I'm like, no, the phone doesn't ring. And then you go look at the website and everything is a form fill. So that's one thing that we gotta do. We gotta just, we spend so much time listening to our marketing companies tell us how many clicks they got and how much time people spend on the website. Just go look at your website and see how many places we can call versus how many places we can submit leads, okay? That's one. The next place, we need to get better at answering the phone and the text messages. We need to pick up the hood and we need to look under it. So we need to first look at how we're responding to our leads. What do inside of our CRM, what do our templates look like? What does our automation look like? I was at a store not too long ago and they were giving me masking rules for that store inside of a templated email.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that's why we need to pick up the hood and redo that and look at. We do it with clients constantly all the time. The other place that they need to go is how are we answering the phone? We need to be listening to the phone. We need a system like Call Review to be listening to our phone calls in and out. We need to listen to the voicemails they're leaving. We need to see it. I mean, there's a lot of clients I go to. We look at mystery shops, or we go into their, you know, their phone system, and we try to listen to voicemails, and there's no voicemails to listen to. The salespeople are just making phone calls, letting the voicemail pick up and hanging up, so they get credit for the 30 phone calls they need to make that day or whatever it is. So to have ROI on your marketing, you need the team answering it, not throwing garbage at it and throwing quality at it. That's the key to get the ROI. How are we responding to the lead? It's not the clicks, it's not this, it's not that. Your marketing's doing great, it's working. Okay, the thing you need to fix is how are we responding to it, and it needs to be accountable. This isn't a one-day thing. This is every day, every week, every month. We are focused and holding people accountable and getting better, and you are going to watch that marketing grow. But going back to our lead to show and those things, that's where you're seeing the results. It's not, are we selling more cars? Okay. It's about, are we plugging the leaks? It's not about how much we sell, it's how much leaks. And if we're selling more cars than we did before, just because we spent more on advertising, but we're still at a 20% lead to appointment, all we're doing is throwing more money at, you know, good money at bad. What we need to be doing is getting that, not spending more money and making that 20% 35%. That now we sell more cars with the same budget. That changes our ROI. That's the focus. And changing ROI in the car business is easy. It really is, guys, but it just takes discipline and consistency, not the newest thing on the block that lasts for 2 weeks and we get rid of.
Yeah. Was there anything more you'd like to share before we go, Mike?
Oh my God, I think I shared a lot.
Yeah, I think we covered it start to finish.
We covered it all. We've been there and said that all.
Thank you for coming in today, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Brian. This was fantastic as always. Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time to join us for this AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, our guest has been Michael Renaud from Allen Ram's Proactive Training. We hope to see you again on a future episode. This one is Over the Curb and Burning Gas.